Okay, this video is to instruct you guys of how to get through this online application and make sure that you do everything correct. If you just follow along with this video, everything should be pretty simple. The first thing that's going to happen is your recruiter is going to send you a link, and you should get a link from this right here that says self-register at the top, and should say application to the Army National Guard. You're going to click on that. When you click on that, it should take you to this. Okay. Now, if you have not already validated your account, you're going to have to validate your account with the information you gave to your recruiter already. So that's going to be place of birth, social security number, and your first and last name. Make sure that you have that information correct before continuing, because if you don't get this information correct, it's going to lock you out. I can't show you how to do this right now because I've already validated this account and started it. So you're going to continue this, and it's going to go to right here. This is the section that you need to get to from when you're at your house. Make sure you follow along every section with me while we do this. The first section that I want you to pay attention to is physical screening criteria. Now, if you're working with me, Sergeant Duncan, I probably would have had you fill out this section already in my office, but let's say I did not. It's very important that you do not do physical screening criteria when you're by yourself at your house, because there's a lot of questions in here that could potentially disqualify you, and I want to make sure that you go over that with your recruiter before you do that. So do not fill out physical screening criteria unless your recruiter tells you to. Same thing with moral screening. Do not fill out moral screening unless your recruiter tells you to. So physical screening and moral screening, I do not want you to touch. Do not touch those two sections. You should do those with your recruiter in the recruiter office. Now, we're gonna jump around this a little bit to make sure that we cover the sections that are the most common mistakes. So the first section that I want to make sure that you do correctly is going to be education. Now, I know this already says complete on my screen because I already did this before, but just bear with me here. So you're going to click page 1 and you're going to answer all the questions. Once you answer all of those questions, it's very important. So you're going to click page 1, answer all these questions. Okay? You're going to answer all these questions correctly, and once you're done with that, you're going to click save, and then it's going to take you back to this section. You're going to see where it says add education. It's going to say nothing found to display. It's very important that this section is filled in. Everybody forgets to do this section. That's why I'm telling you to do this first. So add education, and then you're going to enter your school information in here. You're going to look up your school. All you need to look up your school is your zip code of that school. So I would type in zip code. Most of my recruits go to Foothill High School, so I'm going to type in 89002. So once you click go, you have to click 89002 or whatever the zip code is, click go, then you're going to go to school name, and you're going to click your high school. Once you click your high school, the information is going to automatically populate in there. The from date is going to be the date that you started going to high school. The to date is going to be the date that you graduated high school. Now, for the graduation date, I want you to look on your high school diploma for your graduation date. It has to be the exact date. The to date is the date that you graduated. If you're still in high school, you're going to click present because you still go to the high school. Education type would be high school. Okay. Online school would be no, most likely. All right. Graduated. Now, if you are still in high school, the answer is going to be no. If the answer is yes, you're still in high school, or you're not in high school and you graduated, the answer should be yes. Pretty simple. Now, if you looked up your school properly, the address is already going to populate in there. That's fine. If you went to this school, if you attended this school within the last 3 years, they need a reference. A reference has to be in here. Now remember, when writing references, you cannot use the same person 2 times anywhere on the entire application. So whatever reference you use here, you cannot use anywhere else. Just remember that, including in your family. It cannot be family. What I would recommend is you just take a teacher from this high school or this school and put their information here. We need first name, middle name, and last name. We also need the address. For the address, you can use the high school's address. That's fine. For the telephone number, you can use the high school's telephone number. For the email address, we have to have an email. You cannot click, I don't know. Do not click, I don't know. I repeat, do not click, I don't know. Okay? Once you're done with that, you're going to save, and your information is going to populate in there. Now, I didn't finish this, so you're not going to see any dates, but once you finish this, you're going to see the dates pop in here. Now, if you've attended any other schools, meaning you've gone to college or you've gone to different high schools or anything like that, you need to put that in there since you've been 16 years old. Okay? So once you're done with that, it's going to say applicant input and you're going to be done. So just make sure that the education is in there. The next section I want you guys to pay attention to is going to be family and associates. All right, so this is just an example I've used, okay? I only put mother in here so far. So I want you to look at this. So you're going to click mother and you're going to edit to look at it. You are not going to have anybody in there yet because you haven't entered anybody in there. So you're going to click add, and then you're going to add your mother. Then we need your mother's information. You're going to scroll down. See how I did everything in capital letters? I want you to do everything in capital letters so everything looks clean and nice. Okay? Do not use lowercase letters. Do not use bad punctuation. Just do everything in capital letters. You're going to put her address, all that stuff. Okay? Place of birth, all that needs to be in there. Moving on. If I'm moving too fast, feel free to pause this video because this gets important. It's very important that you do this correctly. For place of citizenship, you have to click select, click this country, and then you need to click add, and then it will show up in this box. Now, most of you, if your parents have been married before, it means they're probably, where it says, has this relative ever used any other names? The answer is going to need to be yes. Okay? You're going to click yes. Let's say they married your father. You're going to click yes, and then you need to add her old maiden name, the name she used before she got married. So, has this person used any other names? Click yes. You're going to click save, and then it's going to take you name in there. So then you need to add your mother's maiden name. So this is the name that she used before she got married. So to the from date would be the day that she was born, her birthday, okay? And then the to date is the date that she got married to the person's name that she took. And then for the reasons why she changed her name, you would write something along these lines, like married to father, okay? If she's ever used any other names, it's important that you put all of the names in there with the dates. This is for your security clearance. Now, once that's done, you're going to save it, and you're going to exit, and then you're going to enter your other family members. Now, when you add your family members, we need mother, father, and then anybody else that applies that comes up on this drop-down menu that you're about to see. So mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, stepbrothers, stepsisters, all of that. Let me show you. This is the drop-down menu. Anybody on this list that applies to you, you need to enter them in there with all their information. It's very important that you put all their information in there. Moving on. So we did family, we did education. We're going to look at character references now. This one's pretty easy, but a lot of people seem to mess this one up. Okay, see how it says nothing found to display? You need to add 3 references. So here's the first one. Again, I want everything in capital letters. We need first name, middle name, and last name. You have to put something in each block. You cannot leave anything blank. The only thing that's okay that you leave blank is rank and title. You can click NA for that. For email address, you're not allowed to click I don't know. You have to put an email in there. We need an email in there. Reference address, this is their address. Their telephone number, I know it asks for 2 telephone numbers, but this one can be the same as this one. It's fine. Just make sure you fill in both of them. You don't leave any blank, and make sure you click both or one of these for best time to contact. That's it. Okay, we went over character references. We went over family. Financial history is self-explanatory. It's all yes or no. Education, we already did that one. Background should be self-explanatory. Foreign history should be self-explanatory. All yes or no. Military service schools, this is asking if you've ever done ROTC in high school. If you've never done an ROTC or anything along those lines, you can skip that one. I'll fill it out. Employment is the next one that's going to be very important. It starts out, well, I put tropical smoothie just as an example. When you see this for the first time, it's going to be completely blank. So your job is to click add civilian employment. And then you're going to add in your civilian employment. So anywhere you've worked since, this needs to go all the way back to since before you were 16 years old. So anywhere you've worked in the last however many years since you turned 16. So the date, the first employer, the first job you've had has to go back to before you were 16, okay? You're going to enter all the information in here. We need everything. So let's go back to the tropical smoothie so you can see as an example of what I did. Okay, so here is how it goes, all right? So we're going to click edit so you can see it. So you're going to put in the job name, what you did there. We need you to write in your job responsibilities here. Now the dates of employment, these need to be the dates that you worked there. So let's say you currently work at Tropical Smoothie. You're going to write the day that you started here, okay? The to date is going to be present. That's it. For employer and verify address and phone number, self-explanatory. We need the address of where you worked and the phone number of where you worked. Yeah, so we need all that information here, okay? And then we also need the supervisor information. This can be the same as the above information. You just need to put it in again, okay? And then where it says, did you previously work for this employer? The answer should be no unless you've worked for them twice. All right, and then every employer you've had since you, so this date, so all these, the dates have to go back until you, since before you turned 16. If you had any unemployment time periods, you're going to enter an unemployment because there can't be any gaps. So if you were unemployed during any period of time, you're going to write someone who can verify that you were unemployed during that time. Remember, when you're using references, you cannot use the same person 2 times anywhere on the application. It's very important that you remember that. Do not use the same person 2 times anywhere on the application. So that's employment. Make sure all those are filled out and everything in there is filled out. Residences, it's very self-explanatory again, okay? Your residences need to go back until before your 16th birthday. So I just put this address in here as an example. That does not go back far enough. So for this one, we're going to write all of the information in. Now, of course, it needs a reference. Now, this person, let's say that your reference does not have a middle name. You need to verify that first. And if they don't have a middle name, you're going to put in NMN for no middle name. But you need to verify it, and if you verify it, you need to write down that you verified they have no middle name. Okay? Reference address, and then just make sure that you have not used the reference more than 1 time on the application. See how I put the same phone number in here 3 times? That's okay, but every blank needs to be filled in. You can just repeat the same phone number 3 times because he only has 1 phone. Got it? When I'm looking at these residences, I need to see the dates back to back. So This day I moved in January 15th, 2019. So the address I put before this, it needs the to date needs to be January 14th. That way the dates match up. Moving on. Everything else on here should be self-explanatory. I already told you not to do moral, not to do physical. Everything else is pretty much a yes or no answer. Aliases, this is if you've ever had a middle, or if you've ever used a different name. If the answer to that is no, don't even touch this section, just leave it and I'll fix it on my end. Everything else needs to be filled out. Now, if you're working with me, once you fill out this application, I need to review it before our next appointment. So I need you to send me a text message saying, hey, I finished my application. Can you review it? That way I know to go in and review it. That's pretty much it. If you have questions and you're working with me, Paul Duncan, then feel free to send me a text message. My number is 702 460 7061. If you're working with a different recruiter, be sure to send them your questions. Once you finish this application, I need you to text me and let me know that you finished this application.